There are tons of brands around in India,
Hmm.
but there's only one Apple. So I know you can't beat Apple, but being a small brand, say for example, I won't take the name, but anyway, so whoever are there in the market, they also need to sustain. That is the challenge. Like what market wants. They might be asking for an UX experience of an Apple phone. If you see the other way around, you can see the whole ground in front of you.
Yeah, yeah. Although
That's the
you're
best
part
position.
of the game, but still you're a part of the game.
Yes,
Yeah.
because whatever is happening around, if you're staying back, you can see each and every person, and those every person are a subject for you.
Hey everyone. Hope you're liking the videos that the No Name podcast is producing. And today again we have one special guest with us. He is a seasoned marketer, and his name is Saunak Banerjee. I mean, he is working as a vice president for marketing in an IT company. He will be guiding us. I mean, he'll be telling us what his experience is, and the most important thing about him is he is also an artist. So it would be definitely interesting and exciting to see how an artist, became a marketer, and then from there on, uh, how that creative journey was, and whatever artistic thing that he had in mind, how could he kind of apply in marketing, and then from there on, do well in both the industries. See, Shaunak is having around 15 years of experience now, and it would be definitely, and even I am excited for this conversation. So let's start. I'll get Shaunak in whenever he is here. First of all, thanks, Shaunak, for your time.
Sure, no problem.
Appreciate it. And I mean, I'm excited to go over this journey to hear your experiences, because it's a nice combination between art and marketing. Both are creative fields, but at the same time it has their own independence, both of them. So
Sorry to interrupt. I actually always consider art to be a part of marketing because without art, how can you just show what you're capable of?
correct, absolutely,
So
absolutely. Thank you so
that's where I come from, probably.
much. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll start with that only. I mean, as you said, right? Tell us about your journey. How was your journey, since you the last 15 years you have been working in the marketing industry, but before that you were an artist. So tell us about your journey. How did it all start?
See, I started in 2007, so I think it's 16 years now. So frankly speaking, back in 2007, there was nothing called digital marketing because there was no social media. When
Right.
I when I, when I came, there was only Orkut, which was there. If you remember,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was no Facebook, there was nothing. So only Orkut was there, and hardly people would know about how to promote on Orkut. And anyway, so probably that is one of Google's project, which was a big flop.
Was found any success in social media to be really honest.
Yes, even Google promotions are going down day by day.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so when I started, it was all about offline promotion and TV ads.
Okay.
That was the main thing, and I started from advertisement only.
Mhm.
I was part of the first IPL ad.
Oh,
I was part of the first Tata Sky ad. If you remember that jingle, "Isko laga tagala, like jingle ala." So I was part of that. So basically, after my art school, so I did animation, uh, but I was a classical animation, which is like obsolete nowadays. We used to do hand drawn animation at that time. Yeah, so I started that way, and then I got to storyboard artist, and gradually I got into designing and then marketing. Um, so for me, as I told you, just like I always considered designing to be a part of marketing.
right.
Uh, Previously, part of advertisement. So for me, there was no strategical change
Hmm.
of shifting my career from designing to marketing. It just happened. It just happened as I came across this year. So gradually, I got shifted to core marketing, so called core marketing,
Yeah.
and it happened as the opportunity came on, I just grabbed it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you think your art background helped in this? Now, you just said that you would consider art as a marketing, subset only, and it's to an extent it's really true. But what do you think? What are some of the skills in art that you learned and you applied in marketing also?
You know, there's a sad story, I would say. Like, uh, in this field of marketing, people don't consider um, art to be a real part of this whole process. But I always considered it, because if you don't have an artist, or if you don't have a graphic designer, or if you don't have a 3D artist or whoever, how will you show the outcome?
Right.
Right? You might have a plan, but you have to show it.
Correct.
So it's like it should go parallelly.
Right.
Marketing can be the plan, and designing can be the execution, and that's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another sad thing is that, like, anyone can design. That's what everyone feels. Anyone can take a call on designing. Well, this is not looking good, or that is not looking good, or this is not looking better.
Yeah.
But there is a thought process, right? So if I'm selling this pen, as a designer, if I have an idea, you just can't say no. At least you should understand, like, well, this man is doing something, so that means there must be some idea behind it.
Mhm.
Rather than thinking about that, you're saying, well, I'm a marketing expert, so I don't consider this as a marketing prospect. So
Right.
that is one thing I always stick to, and I always say, well, there should be a say for a designer as well. Because as a designer, if I get a project, the first thing I look into it from a perspective that, well, this is something which I have to sell.
Hmm.
So isn't that a marketing plan?
Yeah. One more thing, Ivan, I have seen while doing in this, working in this marketing industry, marketing is a lot of performance based these days, right? I mean, it's like numbers totally. I mean, what is your reach? What is your brand awareness? Accordingly, and it's all data driven, which is true by any chance. Like it has to happen, everything has to happen with the data that you have in hand. But when it comes to art, it's very creative and it takes a lot of time to create something which actually feels, I mean, satisfied. Like you should feel satisfied first to create art, and then marketing is like very fast, very aggressive in that way. So how do you kind of bridge between both of these? Because as an artist, you might be having different kind of expectation, different kind of set of thoughts in your mind, but marketing is completely different in that way. It's nowhere related to the creative regime anymore. So how do you kind of bridge between these two?
First of all, thank you for considering designer, and calling them to be a part of art, which
Yeah.
sadly in our field hardly people consider. Um, and the thing is that, as you say, it's like, you consider marketing to be a result oriented. Even the designing is also. And as you said, it's a fast process. Even the designing is also a fast process when you're considering designing a part of marketing. Say for example, in my team, I have a graphic designer who does social media posts.
Mm.
Okay. So when you're working for a brand, a social media post is damn important, because that is the face of the organization. Whatever you can see on social media, that is actually what the brand is.
Mhm.
And that guy make at least 4 creatives in a day. So isn't that fast? At least I consider it to be really fast.
But it should not
Yeah.
actually sacrifice the quality also, right? I mean, that's
Yes.
why I said that when you are talking to a designer or someone, they always take some time, and
Correct.
maybe marketing won't have the space to occupy that particular scenario where you are taking a lot of time, and the marketing campaign will affect by that, which is why I asked you this
Yeah.
question.
That is the saddest part of
Yeah.
this whole process. Like, say for example, I'm the brand head of this organization, and I have my CEO in one side, and I have my graphic designer team in other side.
Exactly.
So I always work like a filter, and that's how I have to perform. Because I, as you know, that as I am from a designing background, so I understand it better. That you need some time at least to think, if not execute. That is one thing we always fight with. And that balance, we have to find a solution, and sadly we haven't find that solution yet, so the clash is always there. So yes, there are times where we have to compromise on the creative part, but we can't help.
Right, right. So, I mean, now we are talking about marketing, and also, what do you think of the current state of marketing, in your opinion? Where is it heading? And like, especially digital marketing.
See, from my analysis, I would say as the days are progressing, it's becoming very much gray. It's not black and white, it's not colorful.
Hmm.
It's somewhere we're going in that gray zone. Gray zone in the sense, suddenly an idea comes and you say you execute. But you need to plan that idea, right? And that particular part is missing. Suddenly you would say, well, I want to sell mango, or I want to say a glass, I want to sell a pen, and the campaign starts tomorrow.
Right.
And probably that is one thing which is forcing these advertising agencies to transform them to a digital marketing agency.
Hmm.
When there was no digital marketing, when there was only advertising agencies existing, the process was little lengthy, but the output was much better
Right.
because they had a process. And now, if you go to LinkedIn, if you search for some digital marketing candidate, you will find at least 1 lakh or more than that. Everyone around a digital marketing person. It's not easy. It's not like suddenly you'll become a digital marketing person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how this trend is going, and there are tons of courses available on internet. You just do that course, you're done. You become a digital marketing person. It's not that easy.
Right. Right.
The concept is same, the idea is same. It's all about demand and supply, right? What the market wants and what you are providing.
Yeah.
But to analyze that whole process and then execute,
Hmm.
that is what is required. And probably that is one of the biggest reason. I was checking on data that day. So it was by SC Nielsen only. So they were saying 75% of digital marketing campaign failed in India in the last 2 years,
Oh my.
and that was the biggest reason because you are executing something, but you yourself only doesn't know that what you are executing.
So, in a way, you are saying that today, even though marketers are running campaigns, but they don't have a complete understanding of how that product will be helpful to the consumer, or a service, whatever it is.
The word will be analysis,
Hmm.
not understanding. You might understand, yeah, this is what is required, but can you analyze that how to execute it?
Right.
And it's not an easy job. I totally agree, it's not an easy job. When suddenly we launch a product, like we do a product launch almost every month, but then the thing is that when I sit with my team and I say, well, this is what is required and this is what we need to do, even I myself, I have some questions in my mind that I'm also not sure whether this will run properly or not. Yeah, data I can fetch. That is one thing digital marketing persons are very smart about. They will show you a lot of data and they'll show, yeah, this much footfall was there, a lot of people came, they showed interest and all.
Right.
But end of the day,
Yeah. So, I think this new thing, right? Artificial intelligence now has come in, like, it's not a new thing, but still, I mean, people these days talk about a lot, like, people going crazy about ChatGPT and whatnot. So, what do you think is the impact of these, products or services on digital marketing?
do you think it is the right time to take a call on that? I think we should wait a little more because I still feel that there is some scope of improvement from the ChatGPT part as well.
Mhm.
Obviously, it can't replace humanity, that is for sure. But I think it will take another 6 months or 1 year to take a call on that, whether how impactful it can be. Yeah, there have been a big buzz that Coca-Cola has done this
Mm.
collaboration with them, and they're getting great outputs. I know that's fine, everything is okay, but I think to take the final call or how it will progress in the marketing, like field, I think we should wait for another 6 months, and then we should take a call about this.
Right, right. I mean, see, even I have used these tools, and whatever I feel is like there's definitely a threat to the job
Okay.
that you are doing right now, because the I'm not saying about the productivity. I mean, the creation is definitely there was always some tool, some machinery, and it will always be fast than a human effort. But when I talk about efficiency, it's with ChatGPT, at least it's on another level, and it's very difficult for a person, for someone like a human, to kind of compete with that particular efficiency, which is why I mean I feel that people should at least start learning them and kind of
Sure.
applying them to your whatever things that you are doing. But having said that, you are a vice president in a company now, and there are a lot of marketing strategies that you need to build. So how do you think your art background, whatever creative field that you were in, is kind of helping you design these strategies and then bring some of the results out of it?
As I told you at the beginning only, like marketing, I consider always
Yeah, yeah, of
as a strategy,
course. Yeah.
and to execute that, this left side of the brain obviously helps.
Right.
So if I divide it into two, left and right, so obviously the calculative and the creative part you have to balance, right?
Mhm.
So I think in my case it always helped. I always took it in a positive way, and it actually helped me in a certain way that, well, if I'm thinking something, how to execute it. Normally what happens, if you're not from a creative background, with all due respect, you have to get to someone who is more into creative and ask them, well, this is my idea, but how to execute, I don't know. But
Right.
in my case, it has been always like the opposite way. Like I always think how the execution will look like.
Mm.
If I'm okay with the execution, then I think of a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Of course. So, what are some of the challenges then? These days, according to you, in this particular field, how and what are some of the ways that you think that will be helpful to overcome these challenges?
Which field you're talking about? Marketing.
Right. Even in marketing, and definitely in you are also a part of a design team or a design background. You also have that. So tell us about both of these. I mean,
See, again, the point is same. Like it's more about demand and supply. Like I can see what the demand is, right? But the challenge is whether I can fulfill my whole idea and can perform accordingly. So that is the biggest challenge.
right.
Like um, there are tons of brands. Say for example, if I consider smartphone, okay, there are tons of brands around in India,
Hmm.
but there's only one Apple. So I know you can't beat Apple, but being a small brand, say for example, I won't take the name, but anyway, so whoever are there in the market, they also need to sustain. That is the challenge. Like you know what market wants. They might be asking for an UX experience of an Apple phone, but which you also know it's not possible. But then also you need to sustain. So that is the only challenge. Like
Hmm.
not only challenge, that is the biggest challenge in the marketing field. And coming to the designing part, well, again, so uh, you will get a brief from your head of the company that this is what I'm thinking about, and this is what we need to do, or this is what the market demands. Now you take a call. So from a designer point of view, you'll be like, well, I got a brief,
Hmm.
but that taking a call is not easy,
Right. Right.
because if something happens, it will be on my shoulder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's always like that when you are in a capitalist society, and it's always like that, you whether you agree to or not, that there's always be someone who will be considered as a scapegoat, and whether it's a marketing department or the designing department, it's always same.
Right. So, what would be your suggestions to the starters? For example, uh, in marketing there has to be a, balance between a between creativity and, the performance based marketing these days, what people say. So what would be your suggestion for those who, and as you are actually working in that area and you have already cracked that balance, how that balance should be like, it should be a good blend of, creativity as well as the marketing goals that you have in mind. So, what would be your some of the suggestions that you would give to kind of get this balance in right?
In one word, it is give some time.
Hmm.
Give some time before you start. In today's social media, uh, almost, I don't know, like, I don't know the figure, but there must be a huge amount of people who want to be a social media influencer, right? You can see every day
Yeah.
tons of new channels are coming up.
Right.
Everyone wants to be influencer marketer. But if you ask them, even actually, I asked someone like, do you have a roadmap?
Hmm.
Do you really consider that the type of content that you are making will help you to sustain for 5 years? Forget about 5 years, 1 year.
Mm.
You know only one thing, that I have to make content at least thrice in a week or 4 times in a week.
Yeah.
Cool, fair enough. But you are actually pouring those content in the same dump yard.
Mm.
So if you really want to make yourself stand, you have to give some time, my friend. That is one thing I can't see at present. Suddenly, an idea will come in the dream, and then in the morning when you wake up, you'll start. Well, I'll get a camera. I'll borrow this or that. I'll start shooting.
Right. Yeah.
So, for example, you approached me. There must be some idea, right? It's not like suddenly you. Oh, okay, I know this person. Okay, I'll just interview. No. So that idea, end of the day, the idea will sustain whatever happens. There's nothing beyond idea, and to get that idea, you have to give some time.
Right. I mean, to act upon it and to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So, what are some of the memorable experiences or learnings that you have seen in the last 15, 16 years that you have been working? So, I mean, tell us what are some of the, things that you have learned so far?
To judge a person,
Sorry?
how to judge a person.
Okay.
So that is the biggest learning I had in my 16 years. It becomes really difficult sometimes to judge a candidate or to judge a particular person's strength.
Mm.
And even myself, there have been situations where I couldn't sustain because I was not ready for that. And
Right.
and one should accept that. If you're not ready, go back, take a step back, and get ready, and again come back. That's fine. One more thing is taking risk. Risk in the sense, as you said, how come a designer becomes a marketing head, right? So there have been so many risks in between. Risk in the sense, obviously, I always took it in a positive way. Like, there's always something to learn.
Mm.
There's always something to learn, and the best way to learn is go through that process rather than going to some institution or some course. That is my philosophy. I totally I totally respect those people who actually followed the other way. Like education, there's nothing more than education. But my process always has been like this. Like, I always took that opportunity and I said, okay, fine, I'll learn this. And how to learn? I just go through that process. I will do mistake
Yeah.
and then I'll learn. That's okay. I took the harder way probably.
Hmm.
And one more, lastly, as far as learning is concerned, obviously I'm learning today also, but the one more important point will be the balance.
Mm.
Balance between uh, the thought and the execution.
Right.
Yeah, these 3 points.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, those are really good insights, to be really honest. So, I mean, what has like, how do you kind of satisfy yourself when it comes to artistic mind that you have? And to fulfill that, you have to kind of do some work and do some balancing between your responsibilities as a marketer, and then give some time to your creative you know thought process also. So how do you kind of juggle between the two?
Are you asking personally? Like personally, I keep my eyes open. That is the best way. Like when when you're on the road, there's tons of subject around.
Right.
It's full of subject. You just have to keep your eyes open,
Mm,
and that is the best practice to develop yourself.
right.
To keep your head clean and keep your eyes open, and you will get content. Content is everywhere.
Yeah.
Even you can, at least I believe that you can make an Oscar-winning short film inside a single room if you are okay with the idea, if you are confident about that idea. And I always follow this, that whenever I'm out or whatever I'm doing, I always try to keep my eyes open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think by that you mean, being aware of where you are and have a
Yes.
complete idea of whatever you do. I mean, the best example would be MS Dhoni, right? I mean, whatever he does, he is aware of what he is doing, and he
Absolutely.
conditions around him.
You know, in my young days, I was a goalkeeper.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's the answer.
Right. Right.
I might be sitting back,
Mhm.
right? I'm the last person,
Mhm.
but the if you see the other way around, you can see the whole ground in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Although
That's
you're
the best
part
position.
of the game, but still you are a part of the game.
Yes,
Yeah.
because whatever is happening around, if you're staying back, you can see each and every person, and those every person are a subject for you.
Mm.
That's the best practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, So, I mean, what are your future plans, Shaunak, from here? Like now you are working as a vice president in a company. So, would you want to do something in this marketing area itself, or would you want to do something which is more close to you, which is art? You know, doing something in that particular area.
Well, this is one question I would like to dodge around because with my background and where I am today, it's very difficult to say what I want to be.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not a visionary, frankly speaking. I don't have a big vision or something. I just go through the flow and I just see what is around, and I accordingly I react. As I told you, I started as a 2D animator. Then I
Right.
became a storyboard artist. Then I got to graphic designing. Then I became a senior designer. Then I being the team lead. Then I got to the digital part, the
Hmm.
marketing and all. And now I am somewhere which is totally different than from where I started. So I if you ask me what is your plan 5 years down the line, I would say obviously I will be in the same field only.
Hmm.
Maybe I can do something of my own, and I would try my level best to stick to the ideas or the philosophies which I always believe in, that everyone should have a space. I would try my level best to give a give an artist or whoever to think. So at least that much idea I have as of now.
Right, right. So, lastly, what are some of the insights that you have for someone who is starting new in this industry, as an artist or as a marketer? Doesn't matter. But what what would be some of the points that you will tell him, and what should he expect from from this particular field, marketing per se?
So here there will be two answers. One for the marketer, the answer will be different, and obviously that for the designer, the answer will be different. If you are a marketer, I would say try to analyze more, try to judge the market more, try to understand what product you're selling, because that is very important. Most importantly, you should trust your instinct and ask yourself whether you yourself will buy that product or not.
Mm,
That is very important. And if you are okay with the product and what you're offering to the market, then it becomes much easier. as a marketer to approach the market, because approaching the market is the most difficult job, because you hardly know,
Mm.
right, like after you launch the product whether it will be a big hit or not.
Yeah.
So it's better you ask yourself and you try to analyze as deep as possible. Yeah, I know there will be pressure,
Right.
but I think you should stick to that, and at least try your level best to understand, to analyze, and then you start doing the promotions or whatever the marketing demands.
Mm.
And for the designer, the answer is very simple. um, you will get a brief, obviously you will get a brief, uh, but to react to that brief, first go to the whiteboard and do some analysis and do some scribble before going for the final output, so that it becomes easier for you also to plan it out, to plan the layout and the content, and then try to execute.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have seen this with designers, right? I mean,
Hmm.
definitely struggle to understand what exactly is the goal of this particular campaign or what. So, how do you think, there should be definitely it also on the leader who is explaining them what are the objectives and how it should be. But what you would suggest to kind of the designers that how they should understand what are the goals in front of them and what they want to do. I mean, with this particular design asset, what is the ultimate output that you are getting? So how do you kind of tell them that okay, this is how these are some of the tips that you should keep in mind to understand the end goal?
You know, at least 80% campaign fails because there's no pipeline setup. I
Mm.
always believed in that.
Right.
If I'm the CEO, or if I'm the product designer, or if I'm someone who has that authority to take a call, so certainly a vague idea will be there in my mind, and whom I will take that idea to? Is it the designer? No, it's the content person,
Right.
right? So that flow is really important. You need person who will just dissect the whole process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Designing is just the outcome of that idea, but in between that idea and the outcome, there are a lot of layers in between. The content person is there, the creative head or the art director, he is there to guide that person, that this is what is going on. And obviously the brainstorming is really important, where you bring everyone on the table and then you discuss, and I'm damn sure if this process has been followed, it should be done properly. That I don't think there should be any question on that.
Right.
So I always blame this process, because first of all, time is a big thing. There are hardly any companies who are ready to give you that time.
Mm.
Secondly, this infrastructure. All companies cannot afford this infrastructure, sadly.
Yeah.
So this infrastructure is really important. So that's why I told you at the beginning that you have to give some time. It's really important. I know everyone wants to run. You can't help. But again, the same question will come. What you just said, that why
Yeah.
it failed. So you have to choose either or.
That's the only problem, right? In marketing, people don't want to wait. That's the,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, that's also one of the pros, but at the same time, that's one of the con of for a lot of departments under marketing.
So that depends. Sorry. So that depends. Like, what is your vision? If you have a small vision, I don't disrespect the small visions, because that will fetch you money very quick.
Right.
But it's not like SIP.
Mm.
Like, so the planning depends on that particular person or that particular brand. There are companies who come to the market who want to sustain for 5 years and they'll go. There are companies actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're happy with it. Their process, the process that they're following, they're happy with it.
Mm.
So you just can't question them. They'll say, "Well, I'm here for some time and I'll earn some money and I'll just go. I'll do something else."
Right.
But there are companies who have a very long vision, and there are companies who are in India for more than 100 years, like Tata
Hmm.
or some other companies, the big names. They will give time. 100% they will give time, because they don't want money like this.
Hmm. Hmm.
They want to invest.
Right.
So the call has to be taken accordingly.
Yeah, that's a thing that every marketer and every designer has to sit and sort it out. That's the only way forward. But thanks so much, Shanak. It's been a great conversation so far, and I would definitely like to invite you to other new topics that you have. We will do some artistic related session also, where I would like to ask you questions regarding art and how they would like to. I mean, how it should be perform. I mean, how it should be, leveraged in terms of marketing also. But
Sure.
thanks so much for your time. How
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much, Project.
Thank you.
Thank you.